the Leatherman Bond. So I had a weird first impression with this guy because I literally thought it came with the pocket clip. So when I opened it and saw like the two sad little holes where the pocket clip would go, I was like, oh, they've forgotten to put a pocket clip on. So I lifted out the packaging and there's, yeah, space for the pocket clip behind the Leatherman. And I was like, okay, they've definitely forgotten that. And I had to go on the website and check, and yeah, it was like pocket clips sold separately. It's like, what? Why would you do that? Like, it's the extra $5. People would either pay the extra $5 or just be bros and put it in. They put it in with the curl. Like, the curl is the other cheaper new diet model of an existing model that's out this year. That came with a clip. What? You know, just one of these things, just a head scratcher. But I've tried to not let it taint my review too much because, you know, these are fine. Like, these are fine multi-tools, the Bonds. They're really going to make, you know, they're going for a Leatherman rebar or a Leatherman PST style tool, right? That you can get for $50 or in my case, 100 Australian dollars. And I mean, I was dumb. I bought it straight from Leatherman, but I just bought it straight. I don't know why I did that. I bought it straight from Leatherman at full retail. And I bought the curl as well, full retail, straight from Leatherman. What a dum-dum, but there we go. At least I know that I've gotten the, you know, the one, you know. But anyway, these are done to make, you know, the Leatherman accessible to people who don't want a wingman or a sidekick or a rev. See, I did the cardinal sin of EDC a few years back by saying I thought the wingman was a little bit shitty because, you know what, the wingman's a little bit shitty. It doesn't feel like a proper premium Leatherman, and this one at least does. This one at least feels well made in the hand. It doesn't kind of have that weird, cheap, stamped out feeling where the locking leafs don't work and the, you know, and I know the tools in this aren't locking either, like the hand tools, but everything feels a little bit sharper with one exception that I'll get to in a moment. But all of the actual screwdrivers, they're all nicely cornered and finished. They're not kind of that shiny, over-polished, buffed, feel like it's going to slip out. There's a 3D Phillips driver, instant win. No one likes 2D Phillips drivers. Absolutely no one. People who like 2D Phillips drivers put their milk in before their cereal, you know? So anyway, it's got that proper Leatherman feeling, with one little exception that I'll get to, for a relatively accessible price point. And I get why this exists. And I'll already like this a lot more than the Rev, the Wingman, the Sidekick, for sure. I don't care that the pliers aren't sprung. It's all good. Don't need that. I would have liked the pocket clip to come with it though, because that is a sell for these. I think these would be good as little pocket clippable, non-sheathable Leathermans. They're good. So overall, I think this sits in the range as like the one that you'd buy for your uncle, you know. It's not dad quality, you know. You get your dad the wave or the charge. You get your Uncle Dennis, who like you see, and he's all right, you know. Uncle Dennis, you know, drives like loudly and, you know, never married and, you know, drinks the most at Christmas or whatever. But he's fine. He's got a good soul. So you get him a Leatherman Bond. You know, you don't get him a you know, a Ganzo multi-tool or like the Harbor Freight. You get him a Leatherman, but you get him the Bond. You know, it's for Uncle Dennis, right? But you still, yeah, don't get it for your dad. Get your dad the wave or the charge still, you know? That's kind of what we're looking at here, I think. It's a good bag multi-tool, you know? It's a good EDC car kit multi-tool, you know? It's got the basics on it. And all the tools here work pretty good. So let's do a tool review. We'll go over them all. So you got the plier head first. Plier head it's like the old-fashioned Leatherman plier head. We're seeing them again. We're seeing them without the 154 cm wire cutters. How do I feel about that? Ambivalent. I don't care. The 154 cm wire cutters, I felt, whilst they did look a bit neater and they chunked out the head a bit maybe and made it more durable slightly, you know, in the orders of magnitude, I doubt, but whatever. There's, you know, Leatherman used to do, like Tim Leatherman used to do his nail cut test with this plier head and it was fine. So I have no issues with that. I always felt that the 154 cm replaceable cutters were more of a Leatherman solving a Leatherman problem rather than a customer problem, because if I break this plier head, I'll use that Leatherman warranty and just send it straight back. But if I was to break my 154 cm cutters, then I would have to replace it myself for like $25, you know? Yeah, I just never saw the complete customer win that everyone else seemed to go on about with those. And yeah, I guess no one likes sending their tool away, but I have a couple of Leathermans, so I just use a different one. And maybe I'm just speaking from a place of complete privilege. But anyway, They cut wire well. They'll cut nails. They'll cut, pretty decent sized gauge steel. The pliers line up nicely. There is good knurling, not a huge amount of knurling because this is it's a medium sized Leatherman. The bigger Leathermans have more knurling and grab wider nuts with them. But it's a successful plier head and it feels nicer. And it's even got the Leatherman engraved into it rather than those sprung sidekick wingman pliers. And I won't keep kicking these horses while they're down.
I hate them.
But those wingman pliers just looked El Cheapo. No branding on them. Just didn't like them. Didn't like them. Hate to see it. Hate to see it. Moving on, you've got the file. Something that I use more than I think I'm going to use it. I always think I'm going to use a file. But then when I go through my other Leathermans, they're all covered in shit. So I must be using them for something. Not literal shit, but stuff. They get covered in stuff that I do file over the course of, a year. Not using them daily, but they get used. Looking at the drivers, again, neat, square, nice, flathead fitting drivers. No problems at all. They work. They'll turn screws. Then you've got an awl. An awl, you could double this as a package opener, I suppose. You know what I think would do better than the awl on a lot of these tools? Like a replaceable craft knife. Like a little craft knife holder that you can just slot in a new little scalpel blade or craft knife blade. I think that would be a great idea for a tool. And I would use it more than the awl. But some people love the awl as well. And a nice durable metal spike is still a cool thing to have. So, hey, I'll get to my ideas about Leatherman's future in a minute, if anyone cares. Moving on to the other side of the tool, you've got the lovely two-dimensional, nice and longish number 2 Phillips. It's a classic. Never stop doing three-dimensional Phillipses, guys. The Waves little Phillips is even a bit too two-dimensional for me as well, but still a whole lot better than I'm going to say it again, than the Wingman or Sidekick range's stupid, two-dimensional, shiny, garbage Phillips that I hate. It makes me sad.
I hate them.
Can opener, wire cutter, a stripper, whatever, sorry. Never used this tool. That is all. And then the knife is a really nice little knife, and it actually cuts and moves through material better than the Wave knife because it's hollow ground. It just has this weird thing with it, though, where it can sort of flop out of the handle a little bit. Like, there's those people, right? There's people that will go to Coles, look for a wet floor without a wet floor sign. Coles is our supermarket chain here. They'll go to the supermarket, they'll try and find a wet floor without a wet floor sign and purposefully slip over it to be all like, oh, look what happened.
You say government car. Oh, my leg, stick. Oh, my leg, stick. Oh, I can't feel my leg, stick. Stick, I'm paralytic, stick.
This is kind of like maybe being that guy, but all I'm saying is, Leatherman, people could at the very least manufacture a situation where they cut themselves on this knife, and you've got to be aware of that. You've got to tighten this guy up a bit, because other reviewers are talking about this too. Everyone's talking about it, Leatherman. Everyone. Not to sound like a high schooler, but everyone is talking about this little knife weirdness here. And I asked a guy with a PST, and he's like, yeah, the PST's blades, I think, are just tighter, so they don't flop. This one flops when you tap it. Like, you can tap this knife out pretty easily. I'm doing it now as I record this voiceover, and it does happen. And it's just that whole thing. You could drop it from a ladder, pick it up subconsciously, grab it the wrong way, and give yourself a little nip. And yeah, not likely to happen, but there's those people out there, there's those people who, they'll wear a neck brace for 6 months to get a $2,000 payout. To me, the $2,000 isn't worth the neck brace for 6 months, but you know what? There's those people, so just be careful and probably fix it. Have a think. So the Bond, it's good for $50. It is. It's kind of like, it's hard to really love it. It's pretty hard to dislike it as well because it does actually feel like a proper Leatherman. So there you go. That's my thoughts on the Bond. My thoughts on Leatherman. Guys, I know it's hard getting something out every year for the next bunch of trade shows. Totally sucks. Total bummer, right? But we can avoid the embarrassment of like those free K2 things, whatever. You don't need to make that stuff. What you need to do is make and you're probably mouthing this as I say it, like you're probably going, yeah, he's saying it, custom shop. Come on, you've got two platforms, right? Super Tool platform or rebar platform and wave platform, right? Let people choose the tools. As long as you can show them a 3D mock-up of what they've ordered before they hit buy, so you know if some idiot's put 3 alls on his Leatherman wave, he knows what he's getting, and you make him just click a thing saying, I've reviewed it, and I'm getting what I'm getting, and I'm not getting upsetting, you know, get him to review it, you will make so much money. Charge people an extra $50 for the pleasure. Like, I don't know, I would have, every Leatherman review is like, well, I wouldn't have this tool, but I wish it had this tool. It will shut all of us whiny pricks up if you just did a custom shop. 2 different platforms, Wave Rebar, Wave Super Tool. Let them choose the blade steel because people often go on about that. And seriously, guys, if you want to be a cut above all the other companies, make 154 cm your every blade steel. Do it, you know? Again, charge an extra $6, whatever it costs. The 420 isn't, you know, it's industry standard because the whole industry has no blade steel standards, I'm guessing. Because every other company is using 420H. So yeah, maybe yours is better than Gerber's or the ones that are made in China or SOG or whatever. But if you had 154 cm, it would be undisputable. You know, the Leatherman Skeletal, the coolest thing about that is that it's got a nice blade that's made of a nice blade steel, you know? So just have a, I don't know, guys, have a think. You're probably not ever going to watch this video, but have a think. Custom shop, rather than making another tread next year that you have to talk all the reviewers into pretending they like and are going to carry forever. And if you actually have a tread convention now, there'd be no one at it. Rather than doing that again, make yourself a custom shop, set the infrastructure up, and the people will come. The people will come in droves. I don't know. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the Bond and on Leatherman in general. I also bought the Curl, which is kind of like the Diet Wave. And as a Diet rebar, the Bond does fine. What do I think about the tools and the handle not locking? Well, everyone loved the PST, you know? Everyone loved the Wave before the tools locked. These tools have a good, like, non-locking lockup, if you get what I mean. They go like this. Listen. They go like that when you lock them open, right? And you have to really be properly misusing them to drive them in a weird way to get them to close. That's fine with me. I don't mind you saving money, not putting locking springs on your tools, totally fine. As long as people can also get the locking alternative if they wish, no worries about that at all. I actually don't care about whether the handle tool's lock. Not a problem. I like how on the Curl the blade locks still and you know the file locks still, and that's cool, but again, this is a much cheaper tool than the Curl, so I think it's all about right. Just make sure you send the pocket clip with them. I think everyone's going to be a bit like, oh, what? Got to buy a pocket clip? No one likes that. And yeah, also just have a bit of a think about this blade. Just if you actually want that to be doing that and thinking about all the people who might, you know, make a thing about it. I remember you recalled the Leap for I think even a bit less than that. So just have a think. You've been told. Anyway, guys, that's my Leatherman Bond review. I'm just testing my new microphone today, so it's why I'm doing it in this style. Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next film. Goodbye.